Hello and welcome back to Geek Warning, the cycling tech podcast from Escape Collective. This week is a little bit different from the usual. We don't have the usual pre-formatted list of topics to run through, but rather Made has just happened in the US, which is now the world's largest custom boutique handmade bicycle show. And with that, we figured we'd give you a little bit of a special episode, a bit of a rundown of what happened at Made. And for that, I'm joined by fellow tech editor with Escape Collective, Josh Weinberg. Josh, welcome back.
Thanks, Dave.
And also joining us, and someone who took on Made this year with a slightly different approach than what they've done in previous years, frame builder Rob English. Rob, welcome.
Thanks, Dave.
Rob, your approach to Made this year was quite interesting. You didn't display, rather, what did you do?
Last year when Escape didn't have anybody in attendance, I managed to run around and shoot some bikes and try and not be in my booth. And so this year, I thought it'd be nice to just be able to be at the show and not be tied to a spot. But I managed to collaborate with a couple of other brands, so I had a few bikes up there on display, and then got to go talk to other people about their bikes rather than repeating myself about mine. So yeah, it was nice.
Nice. Did you enjoy this side of the tracks more than the displaying side?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Just because I get to be more curious about other people's products and process, and yeah, I had some good conversations with riders for potentially being clients too. So yeah, I felt like a good balance.
With you wearing a media badge, did any of the exhibitors tell you look a lot like the frame builder Rob English?
I think enough of them have recognized I've been doing this on occasion.
All right.
But definitely wearing my English t-shirt was helpful for just
Gotcha. Nice.
people figuring out what was going on. Yeah.
I'm curious to hear about the bikes you had on display, but I'll ask you about that later. For now, I'm kind of keen just for us to set the scene. I wasn't there. I was there a couple of years ago for the first version of event of Made, but this year, I mean, how's it changed? What was it like? I heard it was hot. Josh, can you set the scene for us?
Yeah, it was hot. I would say it was actually pretty similar to that first year. I remember that that year that we were there together, Dave. It was quite hot, and it was nice in the mornings though. So we could get there early, get out, get bikes out of the building, photograph them before the heat really settled in. So at least that was nice, but it didn't really seem to deter people from going, just going and checking out the show and spending quite a bit of time in there. I saw quite a few people that I know over the weekend that are not exhibitors, and they were they'd be there just like all day hanging out, going on the various rides that were organized like in the afternoons, and there were actually a couple in the morning. It was just like a really electric environment, and people didn't really seem to get burned out on it unless you were an exhibitor or media and it was Sunday afternoon and you were ready to go.
Pretty toasted by then.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the show is just jam packed from both sides, exhibitors and general public in there, checking everything out. I think the vibe seemed a bit more positive than maybe it did last year. I think builders are maybe rebounding a little bit and readjusting their business models to the point where they're seeing some interest in either custom or production bikes again. I didn't really go into it too deep with some of the folks, but it does seem like people are busy out there and getting some commissions. So it seems all right.
Yeah, Rob, have you felt similar yourself, and have you heard similar from colleagues in the industry?
Yeah, I think the first part of this year there was things got a little bit quiet. I think people were uncertain about the tariff situation and how that might play out. But it feels like that's kind of passed, and people are like, well, we'll just continue as normal and see what happens. So yeah, I'd echo Josh. It really felt like a pretty positive, upbeat, and excited vibe at the show. I was trying to think about it. It felt like there were less new builders. I feel like most people there I'd seen before. And there's one case an established builder launching his own brand, but outside of that, I didn't see anybody brand new, and there was maybe slightly less builders and slightly more brands and products than in past years. But that meant there were some builders doing the stealth show approach that I did of having bikes with brands and either being there or not. So there was still a healthy selection of bikes to look at. The sense of, for me as a builder, the sense of community support and sharing of ideas felt really strong. I think the third year of everyone gathering in the same place is giving that continuity and that kind of like catching up and exchanging of how things are going. And I floated to a few people. It'd be nice, like, can we just have a day without any public when the frame builders will just exchange notes and like and things. So
Could be quite cool.
it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a horrible job of introducing what Made is, and I hope people listening would head to Escape Collective and see the coverage that both you, Rob and Josh have provided. But yeah, it is based in the US. It's based in Portland, Oregon, to be specific. How big is it these days? Like, it's in an old shipbuilding yard, I believe. Is that what the venue was once upon a time?
Yeah, that's my understanding. I think this is where they used to build the massive barges back in the day. So it's a huge ceilinged, very open, dirty building with out of use cranes and structures around it and things. So it's kind of it feels much better for a handball bike show than a kind of a stale conference hall
Yes.
does. So yeah, it's a fun environment to be in, apart from when it's really hot.
Yes, absolutely. And like in terms of the scale of it, I mean, is there a number of like, do you have a number for how many exhibitors there were at the show, or the sort of foot traffic? Are there any numbers that Made have shared? I'm getting blank faces. No.
Yeah, I haven't seen any numbers yet. They usually do, but I think we're too close to the show. The last day was just yesterday, so I don't think that dust has settled enough to really do any ticket sale calculations or anything. But easily thousands of people of public through there, throughout the weekend. Some of the brands that were there had a lot of product to sell, and they were selling a lot. I know a few brands that I spoke with had phenomenal days, and it costs a lot to have staff there and have a booth that looks nice and is made well and gets transported there and everything like that. So there's a lot of cost involved in exhibiting at a show like that. But I think for brands that were actually selling things, quite a bit was offset this year by the amount of foot traffic going through the building.
It definitely felt super busy on Saturday afternoon. I was trying to walk from one end to the other, and it was packed. I just had to kind of like slowly weave through all the people. So it felt really busy. So it'd be interesting to see what the attendance figures are.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, I guess, the first year it sort of was very much the handmade builders in there, and there was a few, I guess, more American-based parts and accessories companies. But it's changed now, hasn't it? It's sort of grown a little bit in its scope and scale. It's I think there's some larger brand names that are involved, but perhaps not exhibiting as you may expect traditionally. They're more there to like add to the event, if I'm not mistaken. Like was SRAM and Shimano present?
Shimano was. They had a booth with a variety of bikes in it from various builders. Cadex was there. That was their first year. They were purposefully kind of at the opposite end of the building from the entry. So they were kind of like, you were walking through, they'd be the last booth that you got to. And one of the folks there that I was talking to said they kind of did that intentionally, and they wanted to, be as respectful to the builders as they could be, while also being there in support of the builders with, parts, wheels and cockpits and things like that, either on hand or talking with them about displaying on bikes in the future. And they had a lot, they supported the builders directly by having a lot of bikes on display in their booth. I think they probably had about 10 different bikes there from different builders.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, let's shift pace a bit and let's talk about some of the trends that I guess you both saw. Yeah, I mean, events like this, and I guess the whole purpose of the scene is that it's bikes to often fill gaps in the market that the big players don't necessarily do, or perhaps don't do in the specific kind of ways that customers want. So, I mean, that's kind of the real big sell of the custom world is custom bike. It's made to suit an individual's preferences. But were there some clear trends of types of bikes that builders are making for, or yeah, what stood out to you?
Couple trends, like the 32-inch wheel is of course a trend. There were 3 bikes there that incorporated that new emerging wheel size. There were 2.
And those 3 alone took up half the available event space.
Yeah, for sure. 2 mountain bikes, then a gravel bike. The gravel bike was pretty wildly designed from by Tyler and his team at Bitchin' Bikes. And then the hardtails looked really, really, really interesting as well. I did get a chance to hop on one of them, and definitely made me want more. So, hopefully it won't be too long before we're all at least able to experiment with those. And then another trend that I noticed that's been growing, I feel like, is kind of this like lightweight rim brake, like mid-reach rim brake steel road bike, sub
Like
19,
big tire.
sub 18. Yeah, big tire, like 40 mil tire, 38 mil tire. That's like pretty lightweight for a steel bike. Rim brake, of course, but I think that's like kind of exciting that builders are filling that.
Yeah, Rob's probably too modest to say this, but I think, Rob, you probably could be credited for that trend, if I'm not mistaken, at least in recent years.
Tried to help a little bit, but I did some work with Cane Creek on a wider version of their e brake. So got a few of those trickled out to builders. Yeah, it's funny. I'm glad we had a similar feel, Josh, because the first thing I wrote down for this was the road bike is not dead.
That's cool.
Because both in kind of classic steel rim brake versions and disc brake versions, there were road bikes all over the show, and with the attention on gravel and then the 32-inch stuff. It's nice to see that the pure road bike is still a thing, even if what a road bike means has morphed slightly in terms of tire sizes. But yeah, it was nice to see.
Were most of the road bikes there of the wider tire variant, like more than a 35 mil tire, or was it really broad?
I think pretty broad. There was definitely still a bunch of bikes with 28s and so, but yeah, like the bike that Daniel Yang from Artifact brought, he's just trying to do a real simple. It's disc brakes, but real simple classic bike that will clear up to a 35.
You have me confused there. I know Daniel Yang from a different name. Has he gone separate and he started his own business?
Yeah, so he's part of the team at Newhouse.
Okay.
And the Newhouse brand is mainly focused on mountain bikes and bikes for dirt.
Yep.
And so Daniel was launched like a sister brand basically alongside.
Gotcha.
So they're still welded by currently. The artifacts are still welded by Nick Newhouse.
Yep.
But Daniel's looking to have for the custom ones. But Daniel's looking to have a custom production run built in Taiwan next year.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. So a new name to the scene there, but under known naming. So okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So rim brake road bikes, obviously gravel bikes, big wheeled mountain bikes. From afar, it looked like there might have been a trend of like full suspension mountain bikes as well. Was that a clear trend, or is that sort of just what the coverage is leading me to believe?
There were quite a few. I think a lot of them were kind of bigger, longer travel bikes. So you probably won't see much of them covered by us. But there were definitely quite a few. Lots of interesting machining and 3D printing going on in that space to try to, come up with interesting suspension designs. And then on the more like simplified end of the spectrum, like Jeremy Csip had a bike that he had made for himself. It was a titanium full suspension, single pivot, kind of a titanium version of some steel ones he had made before, but uses Chris King bottom bracket as the pivot. So those are,
okay.
super simple, but like,
yeah,
quite clever and interesting to see. But yeah, definitely quite a range. I mean, from those simple road bikes to 3D printed full suspensions, it's pretty wild.
The double bottom bracket bike is making a comeback. I think it's Rob, you may know, but I think Cannondale may have been the first to have done it many moons ago. I think most recently though it kind of came back to prominence with Lauf doing its single pivot bike with two bottom brackets, but it doesn't it makes sense, and I think it's
one has to be the top bracket, right? At that point,
that's correct. Yeah, they both can't be the bottom bracket. yeah, very good.
Well, I just say another kind of trend I noticed was that it felt like the new Campagnolo wireless group was kind of everywhere.
Interesting.
Because not only did they have a bunch of bikes in their booth, but it seemed to be like just everywhere, which is, given how new it is was interesting. I just installed my first set on the bike on last week, which was actually ended up in the Campagnolo booth. Yeah, so I haven't ridden it yet, but it felt pretty good to put together. So it's hoping this is a return to form for Campy.
Yeah, and I think it's the perfect show for them, right? It's the perfect scene for them because they're not a brand with a lot of OE presence with the biggest brands. Like, they have one or two special edition models here and there, but it's suddenly if they can get a footing in the ground with this space, then it certainly seems like that's their market to start with and to start proving themselves again. So is that your own bike that you had displayed there, or was it a customer bike?
No, it's a customer bike. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll have to wait a while till I can actually ride it myself. But just getting to set it up and get a feel for it, and how there's always a disparate between the simplicity of setting up an axis group to the complexity of the old EPS, which was how many different color lights do I need to learn about here? And this definitely falls somewhere in the middle. It didn't take me too long to step through the process. So
that's very positive to hear. Yeah. Hopefully Escape can get their hands on a group at some point. I know. I know many of us are eager to try it. So, I've only had my hands on the hoods. That's about as far as I've gotten, and they felt like a really good improvement. So certainly one to watch. But all right, should we talk about some of the bikes that stood out to both of you? I guess I'm kind of keen to hear from each of you about if there are any particular bikes that really you loved or were really impressed by, and I guess why. Josh, do you have one on your list? We'll go back and forth. So Josh, I'll get you to mention one, and then we can hear Rob's.
I mean, I kind of already said it, but the 32-inch gravel bike from Bitchin was just such a interesting feat of both like engineering and craftsmanship. There were so many details on that bike. Hopefully I photographed them well so that everyone can, go over to the site. And
which gallery of yours will people find that in?
It was in the first one. So
the first one,
gallery number 1. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
On the 32-inch wheeled Bitchin gravel bike, totally rigid bike. It did have a custom fork that the design came from another frame builder, Peter Verdone. Actually, I think he may have actually built the fork, and then with Tyler's kind of specifications for the gravel bike, so it was more of a collaboration between the two builders. But fit the Maxxis Aspen tire, 32 by 2.4 with plenty of extra room. So, if he continues to ride that bike, which I wouldn't assume he would not ride it, and brands keep, releasing new 32-inch tires, he's kind of future proof. So super interesting there, and an interesting approach to the geometry, because Tyler's probably about 5'8" or 9", so it's probably about the smallest frame that he could really reasonably fit around those wheels, and he did it in a way that still allowed plenty of space for water bottles in the main triangle and some other aspects like that. So that one definitely impressed me.
How's the toe overlap look on that one?
It's not bad, and that's because like the way that they designed that fork, prevents any like noticeable or significant toe overlap.
Gotcha. Okay.
Plus, it was the handlebars welded directly to the stem, so it's effectively a 16mm stem or something, I think.
Yeah. Right.
So you could stretch it out. And the fork is very interesting construction because it's 3D printed stainless for the crown and the dropouts, with 1-inch titanium tube bonded in for the legs.
Oh, right.
And one interesting design aspect is that the dropouts are offset to the back of the fork legs. And the thinking there is that it keeps the loading on those lugs consistent, so you won't get a fatigue loading of it rocking that lug back and forth and potentially fatiguing the joint over time.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's like on impacts and rolling, right, Rob? Like not necessarily just like braking force.
Yes, yeah. I think the braking force is going to tend to put it backwards, and they wanted the forces from the ground to be the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Okay, that's quite cool. Any other details on that bike that you stood out to you? Or
yeah, this is maybe a later question, but in addition to that super interesting custom titanium handlebar, they also had their new seat post, titanium seat post with a 3D printed clamp, and the clamp mechanism is new. They've been making seat posts for a while at Bitchin', but this one is revised and it can fit both round and oval rails and the same clamp. You don't have to get a different piece, when you're swapping saddle rail types. So that was super clever, and it's just very lightweight and fairly compliant with the tubing that they use. So I actually have an older one, and I love it, and it's cool to see the clamping mechanism improve, because it'll make that seat post a lot easier to use, especially for people like me who switch bikes and saddles all the time reviewing things. So that was nice to see as well from them.
Yeah, nice. Rob, what about you? What's on your list of bikes that impressed you?
So the first one just kind of jumped out at me. There was a Firefly single speed mountain bike that was on the Mavic stand, and it's fully rigid, and it had when I saw it, it had the dropper all the way down, and the single speed is like kind of looks like a trials bike just sitting there. I used to do a bunch of trials when I was a kid, and it's like kind of just looked like a fun little play bike. But then you dig a bit deeper at it, and it's also got all the braze-ons for bags and bottles and things, so you could throw some gears on it and load up and go bikepacking on it. It had Firefly's titanium fork on it, which was designed by Josh Ogle, and it's a printed crown and dropouts with the legs welded in, and a carbon fiber steerer bonded in to the top, which means they can do the same anodized finish on the fork as the frame. And then of course it's got a titanium ball moose handlebar on it too, just to complete. So just just the vibe really of it. The bike was appealing. Just it's like, I want to ride that. It's kind of like what came up for me looking at that. So
yeah, Josh Ogle that you mentioned brings a certain level of like functional jewelry to everything he touches. So I suspect that thing would have been stunning.
And he was actually at the show, so I got to meet him in person for the first time, which was
nice. Great. Yeah, nice. Do you use some of his parts on your builds ever, like his lockering?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've worked with him a couple of times for little bits and pieces. So yeah, actually, and we got deep into talking about dropouts because I think he's got a nice, neat dropout for UDH. And I said, can you do them in stainless? And he got excited about that. So I think that'll be a ongoing conversation. Cool. So yeah.
Oh, very nice. Okay. I'm looking forward to that one. All right, Josh, what else is on your list? What's another bike that stood out?
Well, so kind of the opposite end of the spectrum from both of those, there were quite a few bikes with classic lugged, construction, and those always jump out at me at shows like this. Just lots of creativity goes into those and personalization. And there's one that we had in the gallery today that actually the lead image, just this really kind of interesting bike from Wild. They are
So that's
out
gallery
of,
number 3.
yeah, correct. Gallery number 3. It's kind of like a throwback to some early like all-terrain bicycle designs of the 70s and 80s. It's called the Dog Star. And yeah, Wild is just they're an interesting brand. They do quite a bit of like production road and cross and gravel bikes, and a lot of those are made in Taiwan, and they get carbon forks, and they're great bikes. Jeff Frayne, who's the owner of that brand, is a former founder of All City Bikes, so the Wild bikes kind of have some of that pedigree going on. But he does have Brad Wilson working in a small workshop there in Minneapolis, and Brad is a super talented builder, and so the two of them get up to some interesting designs, and this is one of them. So they have a full custom program too, and they'll offer these bikes, to order, but they're really just like show bikes to show, like, display what they're capable of. So yeah, that one's like super cool. There's tons of interesting details on that. Double top tube, really kind of elaborate bilam construction on the head tube lugs, and a pretty cool build kit to go along with it. And these handlebars that are like a quill, an integrated quill stem bull moose that are just like super wide and swoopy, and just give the bike like a really kind of like fun and timeless look to it. So I really like that one.
Yeah, it looks like a sort of bike just specifically designed for doing skids.
Yeah. It looks like a good skidder for sure.
All right, Rob, what else is on your list?
I really liked the Saltair lightweight road bike that Matt had bought from Salt Lake City. This skinny tubes, kind of classic profile, fitted brazed, trying to make the frame and fork as light as possible. And then the full weight weenie part spec with help from Jason at Fair Wheel Bikes. So I think it was £15 with steel frame and fork, and nice paintwork. And yeah, it's kind of interesting that the fork used the Columbus Max straight fork blades, but the crown that's available for that is only available for a 1-inch stirrer. So Matt did a bunch of research and managed to find in Germany some people 3D printing a stainless crown that will fit 1.8". So he was able to import that to use the old school fork blades, but with current parts.
Wow.
So yeah,
I'm looking at that. It's in part 2 of the made coverage on our website, and yeah, that thing does look pretty.
Full mechanical shifting and braking, and
yep,
just a real simple light road bike.
Nice. Do you remember what the tire clearance of that one was?
I'd imagine with the EE brakes, you might be able to get a 30. Under there, but that would be probably the max.
Yeah, so just a pure road bike.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. All right, Josh, I'll give you one more to provide us.
Sure.
Is there a third that you can?
Yeah. So there were 2 Moots bikes that brand had that I featured in a gallery of their own 2 days ago, I think. Totally lost track of time. I think it was 2 days ago. Anyway, there was like a drop bar mountain bike that I think is going to be like a revamped Baxter platform, kind of a legacy model that Moots has had for a long time. But then there's another one that they told me was more of a concept bike that they're testing out, but they wanted to bring it and just kind of let folks have a look at it. But it's more of a gravel race bike with quite large tire fitment, along with it can run a pretty large chainring too. So that like big tire narrow handlebar trend that's going on in gravel racing right now, at least US gravel racing. Looks like Moose is going to have a bike for that, and it looks super nice. Very, very Moots with the wishbone seat stays and the ability to run one of their titanium stems while still routing cables in like kind of right beneath the headset through a custom spacer that they machine in house and then into a Chris King Aero set. So really clean bike that I made the connection of similarity to the Allied Able that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago. And this Moots bike seems to maybe do a couple of the things that I pointed out it would have been nice if the Able had done. So, and it's titanium too. So it will be interesting to see where they go with that one. But definitely, I think a exciting potential platform for that brand.
Yeah, and I suspect we'll see more and more builders head in that direction of like that ultra wide tire clearance within a road Q factor of a gravel bike. But yeah, space to watch. Nice. All right, Rob, lucky last for you. What's on your list?
I think the last bike I photographed there was a new exhibitor this year of the Marin Museum of Bicycling had brought a few collectors' bikes up for viewing, and I got to photograph the original Charlie Cunningham mountain bike from 1979.
Oh, cool.
And it's a modern gravel bike just from 46 years ago. It's remarkable when you start looking at all the details. Like Charlie really was a visionary and an incredible designer and engineer to come up with this stuff. So that was really special to get a chance to really look at it closely and appreciate. As Cunningham only built 178 bikes,
okay,
and so there's not many out there, and I think those that are, a lot of them are still being written because it's well built machines.
Wow.
And so it had and it one thing stood out for me looking at the bike. Like I've known for a long time it's almost impossible to come up with anything genuinely new in the bicycle world. There's the old fact of in the 1800s there were two branches of the US patent office, one for bicycles and one for everything else. So everything that, even if they didn't have the materials to make it, someone had thought of the idea. And so it's funny, like some of the stuff I've done, I've then later discovered, Charlie Cunningham did it way before me.
Really?
So the brakes on this bike is the precursor to his famous roller cam brakes, and they use a scissor link for the activation, and that's basically the same brake I made on my first time trial bike. It's like, it's all been done.
What were some of the features on this bike? I mean, what did you say? 1978?
79. Yeah.
79. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, what were some of the features that you feel have come back around now?
So sloping top tube, for one thing, and no one else was doing that because seat posts were all short, but Charlie was happy just to make his own seat posts, so he could make a compact frame. He's got a segmented steel fork on the front, of course, is real common now. Front and rear dropouts are equally spaced at 126, so potentially the wheels. I mean, he doesn't have a front wheel it doesn't have a rear wheel on the front, but you could have interchangeability. Then it's a 1x drivetrain with a wide ratio 5-speed freewheel with an additional spring added to the rear of the derailleur to be the pre-version of a clutch for chain tension.
Okay. Right.
And then
which is what Shimano's just returned to, using two springs.
Yeah,
in their latest Di2. Yeah.
And then it's got a 2-piece chain retention piece, one or more conventional like chain keeper as we know now, and then the second piece on the chain say it's like a spoon to stop the chain from being able to really flop up and down and therefore get the momentum to jump off the ring. So yeah, it's like it's a 1x drop bar bike with like 2-inch tires and There's these great brakes on there, and the drops have a flare, and the levers are turned in, and like so, it's just fascinating to look at all the details.
Amazing. Okay.
And he was maybe one of the first people to build in aluminium, so it's kind of oversized welded aluminium in a time when lug steel was the norm.
Yeah, right. Okay. Bike way ahead of its time then.
Yeah. So it's just it kind of looks like a modern gravel bike if it's apart from having rim brakes. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Which gallery is that in for people to have a look at?
Be the next one, I think, Josh. Right?
The next one, I guess it'll be live by the time this is live, so that will be it'll be part
Gallery
4. There will be only 4 galleries, and that will be in that
Lucky
gallery.
last. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I will eagerly await that one. That sounds amazing. So,
right. Rob, I know you're being modest, but there was another interesting bike there, a small-sized bike.
Oh yeah,
that maybe you could tell us about.
I was walking through the outside area and saw this little tiny bike that had a feature on the seat stay similar to the time trial bike I built last year. And I just said cheekily like, "Oh, that looks familiar." As I walked past, like the people in the table, like, "Oh yeah, we stole that from English." And I was like, "Hello, t-shirt." Like, and it was super fun. So the University of Arkansas is running frame building classes, and so a guy from there had just brought a couple of bikes he'd built for himself, one of which was broaching a new category, like get Ronan ready for Aero kids.
Yes,
a tiny little 20-inch bike built as an aero bike, which was just well done. Like, so we'd actually taken some of the features from my time trial bike and incorporated them into this little tiny bike. So that was cool. really fun.
Did you get photos of it?
We did, and actually managed to snap it in. I had my time trial bike there again this year, so managed to snap it in front of the TT bike. So it's
very cool. Okay,
nice little pairing.
Like an awesome project. Yeah, nice.
I was gonna surprise Rob, but I'll let the cat out of the bag. I think that's gonna be the lead image for gallery number 4 that we'll see.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Soon.
And spoiler alert, it without a rider, it tests faster in the wind tunnel than yours does.
Probably in terms of the A part of the CDA is very small.
Yes. Very good. But dare I say, with a similar size adult on both, the results may vary. All right. Nice one. That sounds like a great one. I'm keen to see that as well. So gallery number 4 sounds like the place to be.
Lucky last, as you would say.
Yeah. All right, let's talk. I mean, we've covered some of the bikes, but let's talk about some of the parts and accessories, because there is actually quite a lot to. There's a lot of brands in that space that do attend made. Was there anything there that I guess hadn't been seen before, or was wholly new that stood out, or is it a lot of stuff that people may have seen before?
And I'd say as in terms of some small useful bits, Breeroo was there with Bridge the Gap, which is little 3D printing setup, and they can make integrated bar stem or stem fit to any headset standard. It was on one of the bikes, I think, with a Cadex handlebar to fit to a Chris King headset or something, like mismatch of things. A spacer can be printed that's gonna handle that, which is kind of a niche little product.
What materials do they use? Is it?
I failed to ask that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But are they just printing the spacers, or are they doing like a headset top cap and then also spacers?
Look like just the spacers.
Okay. All right.
And then some like just helpful accessories, such as tools for holding the syringe upright on your bleeding kit.
Right. Okay.
And a work stand adapter to hold your through axles while you're working on your bike. So just some useful little bits and pieces that was kind of neat to see.
Nice. So Bridge the Gap's the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right. Josh, anything on your list?
Okay, it's like a really small thing, but I I've been kind of enamored with them for a little while, and they were there at Made. So they're these little kind of wire flowered cable ties, and they're handmade by a couple that go by the name of Ghost. They are from Japan, and SimWorks had brought them in, and they've done some collaborations with them. They were sitting at the SimWorks booth all weekend making these little wire cable. It's just kind of like a little pipe cleaner, if you will. But they kind of make them with their own little coating there. You wrap them around your cables and give your bike a nice little bit of flair, I guess. But they were kind of all over the show, and super incredibly nice folks. Really talented artists. They were doing some illustrations and some other things like that too. But these little cable wrappers were quite the hit, and I picked up a couple myself and look forward to putting those on my bikes this week.
Are they always flowers as far as the decorations?
Yep.
So they
always flowers on the ends. Yeah, and they have like little all kinds of different colors and color combinations and things like that. But it was cool to watch them actually like making them and doing some other art there at the booth.
Yeah, nice. Okay, Rob, what about you? What else has stood out?
I checked in with the White Industries guys to see what was new there, and nothing super exciting, but they're adding their own center lock rings in both internal and external spline versions, and they're about to launch a C-post collar.
Okay,
and that's a couple of nice. It's a small thing, a couple of nice features that it uses a barrel nut for the thread, and it's a blind hole at the top, so you don't see the barrel nut or the thread from the side or the top. Which kind of a nice look. And once, of course, I mean, they do their colors so you can match everything in. Because if you're going to do match standardizing, getting everything from the same manufacturer is the best way to get a color match. So, yeah, it seems like all these, Chris King have obviously done the same thing with those two parts.
Wolf Tooth's another one that comes to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So more options is always welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, it does seem like a lot of the brands that I guess have in-house CNC machining have sort of increasingly added these accessories to their lineups, and it does feel like if a brand makes a seat clamp, they're almost surely going to come out with a bottom bracket and some center lock rings as well at some point. Yeah. But that's cool.
Oh, and
all right.
And White Industries had they've got new chain rings for their crank that are now 12-speed compatible, including Axis, which is helpful. So,
do you know if that's Shimano chain compatible as well?
Yep, all 12-speed now. So yeah, they've managed to get the tooth profile to work with both, and new shifting ramps and things. So yeah,
cool.
I was one of the guinea pigs on those, and I've got some thoughts to pen on that process with the White Industries folks coming up in a little bit.
Okay.
Great.
That's all I'll say for now.
Okay. All right. Nice. Josh, what else caught your eye on the parts and accessory side?
Rob reminded me of the White Industries partner brand. They also own Astral wheels and Rolf Prima wheels, but Astral, which makes its wheels in Oregon in the US, had made a 32-inch wheel that was on a special bike made for the company's owner, Alec White, by Cameron Falconer. It was, I think, based on their Outback profile. Yeah, probably. I think it's the only 32-inch wheel that I've heard of that's A, alloy, and then B, been made in the US so far.
And it's interesting. The rolling of bicycle rims is one of those decidedly non-trivial problems in terms of getting it right. So you have to get it through the rollers at the right curvature, and then cut it very precisely. So when it's joined, it ends up at the right bead seat diameter. So for them to be able to make the adjustments and bust out those hoops in quick order is impressive. And they said one of the big constraints at the moment for these big wheels is spokes, because nobody really makes spokes long enough.
Yeah.
So that all
DT Swiss has started, but I think you need to know some people who know some people in order to order them at this point.
right.
Yeah.
So so the whole 32-inch wheel, we'll have to see whether these bigger wheels we end up needing wider flanges to keep them stiff enough, or where everything lands should it take hold. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Is it something you're looking at, Rob? Is it?
Yeah, I wanted to try and build something earlier this year, because the rims are fairly readily available in just carbon rims out of Asia, but the tires were the issue, and I wasn't going to try and build something without knowing exactly what size everything was going to end up at.
Yeah.
So obviously Maxxis seemed to have committed to making these tires, and some folks at the show with the right connections managed to get them for these show bikes. So once I can get my hand on a set of tires, I'll start thinking about what I might make.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. I will set you the challenge of making a 48 centimeter frame around 32-inch wheels.
Yeah, I'll have the backwards
I'm
stem.
only kidding.
And,
Yeah. But yeah, if someone can do it, anyway.
Can we put the rider inside the wheel? Is that the question?
The rider is the hub.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. All right. Anything else on that list that either of you want to share?
I had a chat with Brad at Revo Custom Shoes, and he had a really smart looking full carbon custom shoe. So the upper's carbon as well as the lower, and there's the boa is on the sole, like tucked up behind the cleat. So for track riders or time trialists wanting a really ultimate stiffness, custom molded to your foot profile, he just makes them one at a time, custom made. So yeah, it was nice to see.
Very nice. Yeah. For me, from afar, I'm just going to pick the silly thing, which is Abbey Bike Tools' titanium broom. It made me think that if I were present, I really would have wished for a travel-friendly version that I could take home. One with like an S&S coupler or a similar Z-type coupler. I think that would be, I don't know. I might have to commission such a thing because I'm foolish and reckless with my money.
I can up that. When I was a kid, my dad had a titanium apple picker, so it was a very long section of titanium tubing with a hook and a bag at the end. So you put it up under the apple, twist, and the apple falls into the bag. And
right,
because it was about 12 feet long or something, being titanium made it manageable for.
Sure. There you go. All right. Now I want an apple picker, even though I've never picked apples in my life. Yeah. More titanium tools. I think this is what the world needs. So I'm all for it. All right. Well, yeah, before we wrap up, was there anything else from the show, made related, hand built scene related, that either of you wanted to talk about?
It might be fun just to mention Jesse from Slow Southern Steel. Is he in Arkansas, Josh? So where's he building?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
So what is that? What's Jesse doing?
So he's a custom builder. Been about three or 4 years he's been building now, and he's just doing some interesting stuff. So he built a bike that went on to win the single speed category of the Tour Divide this year. So that was there in its full bagged up and rusty glory. And then he had the bike he'd built as a partnership with Made. It was chromoly, but with stainless truss aspects added in. So he had 2 tiny tubes each side for the seat stays, in stainless, contrasting to the rest of the frame. And then he'd done the fork he'd built. He said he tested it without the truss section, and it would flex a little bit under braking. So then he's got this very thin titanium truss running up that's then bolted into the handlebar to triangulate that and keep it stiff under braking. Yeah, just someone trying some different stuff out and seeing what he learns, and kind of a young builder pushing things along. So it's just nice to see.
Yeah, nice. All right. Yeah, one to watch out for. All right. Well, before we wrap it up, Rob, I'm gonna push you to tell us what you had on display that people may not have seen. So, yeah, did you bring something new to the show? I think you mentioned you had a Campagnolo equipped bike, and
Yeah, so it was a customer bike, which was maybe the first time I've done an Aero all-road bike.
okay,
So clearance for 40 mil tires or 35s with fenders, but then with integrated seat mast with the wheel cutout and aero down tube and full aero handlebars and all the things. So
oh wow,
there's a little bit different variation of the things I can do.
okay,
Yeah, it's nice. So to just finish putting it together the day before the show. So my first photo my customer saw was in the campy booth. I sent in the photos like, here's your bike.
So it's an aero or road bike that can fit fenders.
Correct. Yeah, because
Right. Okay.
sometimes it rains.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. A bike for all seasons and going fast in the dry and dry in the wet.
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you. Thanks both for jumping on and obviously for sweating through the weekend as you captured it all. Yeah. I think probably point people towards Escape Collective for all the imagery of this. I think. What did you say? 4 galleries plus a couple of other individual pieces.
Yep, that's right. Four full galleries of bike coverage, and then the one about the new Moots bikes, and possibly something else that I'm thinking about putting together but haven't decided yet. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. A little tease.
One other quick aside was that maybe the favorite party trick I saw was Ceramic Speed were there, and they had some very like giant ceramic balls, like marble sides. And
Right.
the invitation was to throw them at the concrete floor as hard as you wanted to, and nothing happens.
Oh,
They
like,
remain
do they bounce?
not very much,
Okay.
but they don't get marked at all. They come back just as shiny. You can try and scrub them on the concrete, or it was just an interesting demonstration of why ceramic can be a good choice for durability because they're really hard.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean on that, like the normal failure point of most ceramic bearings is the races the balls run on. Like it's, a lot of the cheaper ceramic bearings in the market just use inferior races and the balls like just end up wearing into the race and it's the race that wears. But yeah, you get like Enduro and Ceramic Speed and a few others that are using truly well hardened races that although it's not a full ceramic bearing because the races are still steel, but they're hardened enough that it lasts incredibly well. But that does sound like a very cool demonstration.
Yeah, I came home with a couple in my pocket, so next time I see you, Dave, you can.
Do they know that?
Yes,
Okay.
it was given. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very cool. That's a cool bit of show swag. So, all right. Nice one. All right. Well, let's wrap it up there. I think we're going to head over into Ask a Wrench now with Zach Edwards of Boulder Groupetto for members of Escape Collective, and those on the member feed will get to stay on and listen to that. But if not, then encourage you to check out all the galleries on Escape Collective. And until next time, what's the next builder show on the list on the calendar, Josh?
Bespoked is right around the corner in October, and it looks like I get to go over there as part of a couple of other projects.
Okay.
So expect more handmade goodness out of the European scene.
Nice one. That's in Germany.
And if I correct, yep, Dresden, Germany, and it's like middle of October. I don't remember the exact dates, but I would like to just really quick thank Rob so much for his help with these galleries. And, I think everyone whose bikes that he photographed were like really just incredibly pleased that they got to hang out and interact with Rob English for a few minutes and talk shop. So really special thing to have you on board with this, Rob. And again, huge thanks, and hopefully you decide not to have a booth next year, because hopefully we can do it again.
Yeah, it is an honor that you wanted to do this for Escape, and yeah, thank you. I mean, your work's been amazing. So
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and appreciate the photography tips, Josh. Still trying to get up my game on that slowly, but yeah, I think everyone was finding it a challenge with how bright the sunlight was this weekend. So
yeah,
challenging conditions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I have to say, like, from day 1 to day 4, however many days we were there, yeah, like you were really really getting after it. So and it shows. So thanks again, and yeah, great work.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up there, and we'll head over to Ask a Wrench now. All right. Josh, Rob, good to catch up. Speak soon.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks to Will Jones of Red Bricks Media for the editing and mixing of this episode.